Hi everybody, today I want to talk to you about how much it would cost to actually heat or cool your van just by letting it idle. First, let's take a look at some average bills that it costs to live in just your typical brick and mortar home, and we'll try and compare that to living in a van. A study showed that in Missouri, you're going to pay $115 per month average for electricity. You're going to pay $76.55 for natural gas if you are using natural gas to heat your home. So at $115 per month, that equals to about $3.83 per day. Divided by 24 hours in a day, that comes out to about 16 cents per hour just for electricity. And in order for this to be a fair comparison, you have to take into consideration the average mortgage payment or the average rent payment. The Business Insider reports that the average mortgage payment is about $1,200 a month, and the average rent is around $1,000 a month in Kansas City. The reason we have to take these into consideration is because if you're living in a van, you're of course not going to have a mortgage or a rent payment. So let's say you pay $1,000 a month to rent an apartment. That costs you about $33 per day, which works out to $1.38 per hour to rent. $1.38 per hour plus 16 to heat it comes to $155 per hour just to rent and heat an apartment. Now, if you own a small van like the Ford Transit Connect, it's going to cost you roughly a quarter of a gallon of gas per hour to just let it sit and idle and utilize its built-in heater or cooling system. So with gas being around $2.65 per gallon, divide that by 4/4 of a gallon, comes out to about 66 cents per hour just to live in a van and heat and cool it. So that's $1.55 an hour to live in an apartment and 66 cents per hour to live in your van. And of course, we're talking extreme situation here of letting it run continuously night and day 24/7, which no person would do. You're really actually going to need the heat or the cooling in the heat of the summer or the dead of winter. And the cooler months, you're not going to be letting it sit and run and idle at all. So the reason I'm bringing this issue up is because after I did my video on insulation, I got a lot of flack from people regarding two main issues. And the first one they brought up was, of course, it's going to cost tons of money. You're going to spend tons of money letting it sit there and idle. And the other one was, of course, they seem to think that letting a car sit and idle was terrible for the car. It was going to destroy the car. So let's take a quick look at what the experts have to say about it.
But if you have a modern car that you take care of that has electric cooling fans, they pull tons of air. You don't have to worry about the car overheating. So even if you're running your AC, those fans are sucking so much air through, you can sit there idling. It's not going to bother it, even with the AC on.
However, modern cars run off electrical fans. Electric fans pull in a ton of air, so even if you're blasting your air condition in the dead heat of the summer, you're going to be okay because that fan is going to pull in a ton of air into your engine. In addition to that, most cars nowadays have water cooling systems, so it's not even necessary for that air to come in through the fan.
So yeah, just sitting in your vehicle and letting it idle to keep it hot or cold isn't going to hurt your vehicle at all. And you can see it's less than half what it would cost to rent an apartment and heat and cool an apartment. Also, regarding insulation, if you're planning on building cabinet systems, such as I did on both sides of the van, that acts as a barrier between you and the solid cold steel and is a type of insulation in itself. But in all, I stand by my original statement that unless you find insulating a van therapeutic in some way, it's not necessary. or if you're planning on separating your van from your cab. On another note, I found what I think to be the most perfect piece of furniture for a camper van in my size, and that's one of those simple tri-fold cushions that acts as a chair when it's all folded up and can easily just be unfolded to form your bed. And there it is, all folded out. And I am so excited about this thing. I finally found what I think is the perfect solution to my bed chair situation in a micro camper van. Appreciate you watching the video, and hope you have a blessed day in Jesus.